No time to waste. I didn't even load to the map yet. No time to waste. I haven't loaded into the map yet. Well, I hit start streaming, so we're going live anyway. There it is. He doesn't know where his bone is. I put it away because he's been bad, and I want him... I will give it back to him if he's good over the course of the 2 hours that we have to do this thing. Alright, let me share the stream as I do, as is customary. There we go. Matt's becoming a Lord Huron fan. You'd love to see it. Okay. We're late. The draft just started. I don't know when my dad left. He was here for a while, and then I went outside to check on him, and he was gone. Actually, where's my phone? Did he text me? I mean, he might have texted me. We could have started this earlier, is my point. But no, I don't think he texted me. He didn't say he was leaving. He just disappeared. Which is understandable because he was here for like the entire afternoon. Anyway, all right. What were we doing? What were we doing? We have a relatively flat section to work with. This section is supposed to be flat, and some people are going to be showing up here and wondering why we're starting now and not earlier. For those who are watching the VOD, it won't matter. And when you come in and watch the stream, it just picks you up from wherever I am. So it's not like a huge deal. If, sorry. Ear itchy. Itchy ear. Dimples because he has to do ground. Yeah, Dimples? Oh, man. Yeah, this is the first... So, some of you may have noticed that I started this motif of, like, build ground, build ground, build ground, as a, what is going on? Lafayette wants to know where his bone is. Go chew on your cheek chip. You've got stuff to chew on. Deprelis. Deprelis. Yeah, okay, I get you. Alright, he found something to chew on, that's fine. Grab this. We're going to use this height over... here. I'm doing alright. Allergies are completely kicking my butt, as you guys can still probably easily tell. It's not been fun. I've never dealt with this before in my life. And I guess I just have to get used to having a sore throat for like 3 months of the year now. Or a month, or whatever. Or, I mean, I guess I could do the sensible thing and, like, you know, get allergy medication. But where's the fun in that? Hey, Brady. Oh, you know what? I didn't move the window over. This is not spaced out properly. This isn't even in the right window. I can't see the whole chat. Guten Tag, Mopak. Hello, Brady. This isn't really the direction I wanted to go with this line. I kind of should have gone that way. Whatever. It's getting narrower. It's not a big deal. Either way, we've got to fill this in. So, I think this contour line over here was flat. You better not be eating the cat food. I swear to God. I just put him in the crate for eating the cat food, and then took... Oh, it is. And then took him out so that he could, like, wander around while I'm doing this, because I kind of felt bad. I was like, okay, you know what, I need to trust you at least a little bit, even though you've been making a mess of the place, even though you peed in the house earlier. Like a couple hours ago, I just cleaned it up. But now he's just stalking the cat. The cat's trying to eat. And he's just standing behind the cat. Anyway, I hope everyone's having a good Thursday. I know, like I said at the beginning of the stream, that nobody was here for. Oh, hello, the Flying Dragon. Welcome back. No porch building streams 0 out of 10. You know what? If you want to see some porch building, come here and help me build a porch. That's my invitation to everyone. You are totally welcome to come to my house if you want to help me put up wall paneling. I mean, you're welcome to come to my house anyway. This is like a constant open invitation to basically everyone in the Horseman server, fan rank and above. I don't know the people. I don't know the people below fan rank well enough, but I feel like everyone, you know, more or less everyone is fine. Maybe you will. Maybe you do. What if you show up unannounced? What if you show up unannounced? That'd be really cool, honestly. I would totally be okay with that. And yes, Brady, you got your cards. I hope you're happy with them. I saw the picture. They look like they came out just fine. I have been working on a couple more special orders. I actually got one for 39.85 earlier today, which is a nice coincidence considering the news with 39.85. Which, if you haven't checked that out, it's in Terminus News. We're almost definitely going to talk about it next weekend, next podcast. But you never know. There may be some bigger railroad news in that time. So, yeah, see, it's going to be... Oh, it's flat over here. Well, no, it's not. Oh, and I missed a corner. Haven't got yours yet. Oh, yeah, it is... Yeah, 39.85, the Challenger. Not like a locomotive number 3985, like specifically the 3985, so the Challenger, yes. Um, Unfortunately, that's proving way more difficult than it has any right to be because Union Pacific and Loco Base report slightly different stats for 3985, which are also different than like the erecting drawings for that class of locomotive. So I don't know if UP just like refined their numbers or if they made some modifications other than obviously oil burning. Might have gotten lost in the mail forever, like a good fifth of the stuff that's sent to me. That's unfortunate. Most people have received theirs by now. Um, but, oh, yeah, no, I think yours went in the, I think I know who ordered those. It's one of the people I'm sending mine to. Oh, okay. Uh, Either way, I hope everyone enjoys their trading cards. I hope everyone gets their trading cards. I don't really know what to tell you if it gets lost in the mail. I don't have a way to like ensure that. I have some spare packs. Oh yeah, Dragon, you haven't been here in a while, so we added all these tiles recently. So this should make it clear what we're getting at here. So I'm just making this all flat ground because this is supposed to be like a high point, and I'll go over it with another tool later. Hey! Lafayette! No, go in your crate. You just can't stay away from the cat food. Okay. So hopefully he will be more obedient once he's where are my testicles summer? So I've been lost. That's unfortunate. Um so yeah, I don't really know what to do. There are some people that haven't received theirs yet. I really hope it shows up, but you never know with the postal service. There's always a non-zero chance that they come back to me and are like, "Hey, we couldn't send this," and I'm gonna sit here and scratch my head. Um, I have to go check. Somebody said they turned up at my local UPS store. That's strange. Well, they all went through the USPS. They all went through the U.S. Postal Service. So I wouldn't think anything would show up at a U.S. or at a UPS store. But maybe there's just something funny with your address. I don't know. Um, Whoa, accidental, whatever the hell I just did. So yeah, one of the other folks has also reported they haven't received theirs yet, and they went out in the first batch. So I really am hoping that everything makes it. I know people worry about stuff getting lost in the mail all the time. That isn't the kind of thing that happens often. But I really hope these things all show up eventually. Wait for a hemlock for mine yet. Yeah. Um, hopefully yours get to you, Wyatt, just fine. I know they've got to change hands again. Speaking of which, so I was thinking about how I might handle card packs that are going to be sold through museums, like the Rare Museum of Pennsylvania and um, the California State Rare Museum. I have the head of their retail department, their contact information, and so I may look into doing a partnership with each of those museums for a card pack that features exclusively their locomotives. Yes, this would mean possibly a second run of cab forward cards, which were the legendaries in the first batch. Uh, but I may not, I may opt not to do that and just pick a different locomotive that they have uh, for those cards. I think they have more than 16. It would also mean for the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum, it would mean possibly getting a second K4 card, which would be a little bit, I don't know, I wouldn't love that conclusion because we have a lot of those cards in circulation. There are, I think, 40 K4 cards out there, so, or maybe less than that if some of them got lost in the mail. Actually, things that are not in circulation are the things that are currently in my backpack. I've got 10 packs still that are for sale. If you miss the boat on getting a card pack, or if you want more, um, let me know and I can ship them out to you for, obviously the cost of shipping and the pack. So, uh, like I have mentioned that shipping is going to be going up for the next batch, and probably the cost of printing is also going to be going up for the next batch. Not because of museum limited editions like Pokemon. I've already got some iconic typos, so there's that. I'm bringing my limited tools. Uh, anyway. So, what was I saying? Yeah, I already have found typos in 2 of the cards. I won't say which ones, but I will say this. The set that I have here, the sets that I have, the packs that I have, do include at least one Dreyfus. So I have at least one legendary still in my possession, which odds are that I would have at least 2, or, 2 give or take. Guten Tag, CSX. Odds are that I would have 2, because I have 10 packs, and an individual legendary shows up in about 10% of packs. So, plans for the new expansion. This is all farmland, for the most part. It's not really going to be that exciting, but here we are. This is heading towards Gilson City, through the towns of Bellington and South Bellington and Pan Am. Yes, we are going to have a town named Pan Am. Rest in peace, Pan Am. If you want to hear me rant about Pan Am, you can watch the most recent Terminus podcast, because Julius and I kind of get into it, which is actually quite entertaining. I thought, anyway. Whenever things get a little bit heated on the podcast, but not like the hard feelings sort of heated, just like voices are raised because of inane opinions, that makes for some entertaining stuff. At least when it's not all the time. Honestly, my throat doesn't hurt, it's just scratchy. I don't know what a cough drop would do for me, but there are a ton in the other desk. The cat came in, hopefully to eat his food, because if not, when I let Lafayette out of the crate, he's just going to go right back to eating it. Because he's that kind of dog. I think he ate all his food, and now he's eating the cat food. I think that's what his plan is. So yeah, there's really not anything exciting going on. It's just going to be 4 tracks through farmland, and we did try out some new construction techniques and some old construction techniques. We've been doing a lot of terrain tracks, and that's been working for the most part. It's actually worked pretty well. Just a hair time consuming. The other stuff we've done is use the copy paste randomize, or not randomize, but like the terrain stamps, if you want to call them that, which have given us stuff like this. And it looks bumpy now, but when we get to putting texture on everything, I think it'll look okay. And I've been trying to have relatively broad curves through this. This one may need to be straightened out. And I've also been desperately trying to keep it under 1%, which I went a little overboard on some of this stuff, but it really flattens out up here. But yeah, I mean, if we do... So, yeah, I was thinking about those packs, those potential batches that would come to those museums, and I was figuring, well, the easiest thing to do would just be to print the cards and send them to the museums in the form that I receive them, which is basically, well, everything's divided up and sealed into its specific card runs, so like all the K4s are together, etc. Um, and all the envelopes are packaged separately. So that would be the easiest thing for me to do. But I don't think it would yield the best results because it would mean putting a lot of work onto the museum staff, probably to sort the cards out and make the batches and everything. And it gives them the opportunity to screw it up, you know? So I would probably... Company makes rail incredibly stupid. Yeah. Uh, I would probably end up shipping them to myself, organizing them into packs, sorting those packs, randomizing those packs as I've done, and clipping them, etc. If anyone in the chat has received a pack, you know what they look like when you get them. Envelope aside, all the cards are in their own envelopes, and they are paper clipped together, and some of them have a number on them, which was, like I said, done for the randomization of the distribution of the packs. Yours have a number on them if you received the cards having not asked for guaranteed variety, because those packs were set out before the randomization. So those packs were made before I started making randomized packs. Not unlike a chronology thing, but just because I had to get those out of the way. I didn't want to make a bunch of randomized packs, and then for whatever reason, just due to luck of the draw, I don't have the right cards to go in the guaranteed variety packs because they're all stowed away. So, I'm telling you, giving a rocket. That's cool. So, yeah, that's one of those things that it occurred to me that how I should probably do it is have them shipped here and then send them out, rebox them and send them out. I mean, they should fit in the same boxes, and it should be fairly clear once you receive them, once a museum receives them, that you just sell them as units like that. And they'd probably be a little bit more expensive through the museum. I would probably end up charging, I wonder what, for the shipping. I know Vistaprint gets sort of a deal on it, which is why I don't know what shipping a box of that size would cost through UPS, USPS, FedEx, or the other one, DHL. Who uses DHL? Is DHL still a company? But yeah, that's something that I would have to contend with, and that would probably raise the price a bit. Any batch can be saved by proper application of coupons for Vistaprint, but I don't want to bank on that. So that's the thing. If I can make this work, right? And we did benefit from a lot of people being very generous with the first batch and giving extra funding and stuff like that. But I think going forward, it would sort of look like, okay, it's a Kickstarter for, whatever the full price of the thing is, $600, and that includes shipping. That would include shipping. Although now, I don't know if it would matter. Well, the shipping is included in my total cost, like required. So yeah, it'll work out. It should work out. It pinged me. Oh. So yeah. I'm getting in another slop ridge situation where I keep drawing the mountains out more than I would like to. Alright. Oh, and the fact that I'm using the plateau tool on an incredibly small setting means that I'm not actually really helping myself. So, yeah, we've just got to keep massaging these hills up, and then we'll do a run in the back here. Like, we'll bring the back side of this up to an intermediate level, and then we'll continue raising the ground like this. And we should be able to work out, like, what areas are going to be higher and what's going to be lower, basically. I love the independent conversation that goes on in the chat. You love to see it. I mean, I love to see that in my own Discord. Am basically always keeping an eye on the place. But when there's conversation that does not involve me or anything I do, I like to see that because it means like there's that it's a community beyond just hanging out to hang out with me. Uh, yeah, well, the thing is, terrain is probably the most tedium of anything, which is why a lot of people like to do dems, which is also completely understandable. And the other thing is, it's much easier to build up than it is to build down. So if I want to build a valley, then I'm probably going to end up building up the walls of it than I am building down, like building the valley itself from a higher point. Generally, this tends to yield better results, and it's easier to wrap your head around because the thing that's most defining about the valley, any valley, is going to be the river that carved it, or stream, or what have you, that carved it, whether or not it's present all the time. And so for that, you need to have a consistent valley floor that's either flat or sloping down in one direction consistently. And by that, of course, I mean it doesn't come back up anywhere and then go back down. So you need to plan that out ahead of time, and that's the number one thing that you need to figure out. So you're going to end up building your valley from the bottom up. You're going to end up building most of your terrain from the bottom up. And I'm sure there are people out there that have done not that, but that's my tip for anyone worried about doing valleys. So now we need to go through and lay this in the back here, which I won't do the whole thing just for the sake of time, I guess. Because I want to do this, not that I want to do this piecemeal, but it just feels better to me to do it piecemeal. Actually, that's not right. You shouldn't do that. It is inefficient to switch back and forth between two MOs, or two tools or two things that you're doing. So when you do something like this, you want to come through and you want to do all of whatever you have to do in one fell swoop and then go back and do the next thing. So you do one pass all the way through of, even terrain, for example. I always do a valley up type because it allows for more, geological accuracy. Exactly. So I've noticed most of my stuff is actually not tall enough for this. It is tall enough over here, but over there it's not, so we'll have to use the plateau tool to make the edges meet. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's good work ethic. It is the most efficient way to do it. You will spend the least amount of time wondering what you're doing next if you go through and you do all of something, and then you go through and do the next something, because then you only have to decide once. You go, okay, I'm going to work on this to a point, and then I'm going to switch and do something else, then I'm going to work on that to a point, and then I'm going to come back and work on this more. No, then you're just spending time figuring out where your stopping points are. And yeah, it is good in when you get further along in a route to do like smaller tasks that are all bunched together. But the terrain in particular, I feel like should all be done at once. And I do think going up like on a layers approach is going to be the way to go. So you do sort of the terrain first, and then you lay your rail and you set out your road network, and then you start doing like your major scenery. So like if an area is just forest, you fill that in, and an ocean and whatever, and then you start doing your minutia, which then you can break it up a little bit. You can say, okay, I'm going to go and build this little town, or I'm going to go and do texture work on this small section of railroad or road or whatever. Because there you have stopping points already. You reasonably aren't going to sit down and do all the terrain work at once. It's just not going to happen. But or terrain work, all of the texture work at once, rather. You do want to do all the terrain work at once. Like I said, you aren't going to sit down and do all the texture work at once, and it's not all going to be uniform, and you aren't going to have to figure out anything. Or you are going to have to figure out different things for different sections, I should say. I was going to say you aren't going to have to figure out something for the whole thing. You're going to have to figure out a bunch of smaller things. So that puts you in a situation where you're going to have stopping points anyway, where your sort of knowledge or inspiration runs out. And while that may happen when you're doing an area with terrain, that says to me, especially if it's a large area, that says to me, okay, this is where you should be breaking up your route overall. This is where you should have your big sections, because you don't really want to be doing a whole route at once, unless it's a smaller route, unless it's only a handful of tiles. You probably don't want to be doing a whole route at once. You probably want to be doing it piecemeal. You want to take one section between two major towns and build it out, and then you want to do the next one. That keeps the project from being overwhelming. It also allows you to have a bunch of stopping points along the way. If you say, you know what, I'm tired of this project, and it's going to be unfinished as far as like my map goes, like whatever I laid out, my original goal, but it will still look done. You know, it'll still have all the sort of pieces in a given section. It'll look finished, and what you have done will be finished. It might not be, like I said, it might not be finished from like from a conceptual point of view. Like it might not be living up to the size or whatever that you originally had intended, but what you have built will be done. It will pass muster if you were to give it to me and say, hey, this is, please route review this. Back in the days where I used to do route reviews. Which I would kind of enjoy doing that again. I would enjoy doing that as like a Wednesday special. You know, you guys could have me roast someone's route. Or, well, really, I like people submitting their own routes. So you could have me roast your own route, if that sounds appealing. But we do have something that I would like to put on the table for the upcoming Wednesday special, which the voting for that, hi my love, I was expecting you to show up. The voting for that is probably going to come along in a few days, not too long from now. And I have put together well, this would be tougher to do for a Wednesday special, but point is, I put together a full slate of questions for a Railroads of New England Jeopardy, and I have a few people that I have in mind that would probably do well with that. So that's something that I'd love to try out as a Wednesday special. Naturally, once the questions are out there, the questions are out there, and you know, if you watch the video, you're going to know what the answers are. I'm not going to create many new slates of questions. This took long enough and enough deliberation, and it took like every ounce of what I know about New England railroads. But I could make it harder. I have thought about that. I could definitely make it harder. Either way, the only thing holding me back from changing a couple of questions to be much more specific knowledge would be, or is because I've had difficulty phrasing the questions the way I want to. I love you too, baby. So, yeah, that's the roadblock I ran into. It gets clunky. Although I have discounted a little bit the utility of picture-based questions. Which, if you guys have seen Heiss's newest video with him doing Railroad Jeopardy, that is, I believe, the same slate of questions that I did with him recently, myself and Weibold and Layton. So, yeah, I mean, check those out and compare yourself and see if you feel good about getting those answers. Because if you think you would mop the floor with me in that, I'd love to see you try this. Now, naturally, some of the stuff that they do go over is local lore, etc. But I even made a section in mine called local lore. So, who's laughing now? First payday, I'll be getting Trainz and a few DLC so I can build my own route. Well, I don't feel. I mean, if you want to get DLC, then get DLC. I can't exactly tell you to shy away from that. But I feel like that's far from necessary for Trainz, says the guy who just had a problem with using DLC assets. But I do think that's far from necessary. When it comes to that other train game, then yeah, DLC is kind of important. The market for freeware, if you can call it a market, is kind of small, and while a lot of the stuff for Trainz is not super great quality, it is out there and it's free, and there's a buttload of it, and you can find good quality stuff mixed in with the rest without too much trouble, you know. All right, so let me fill this in. Yeah. And I also am going to do this to make this, like you said, ZSX more geologically accurate. And I think we will extend this out in this direction a little bit, just to give us some more, just to give us less of an abrupt edge. Because right now it does seem kind of abrupt, that it just sort of rises into mountains in the corner here. Now, so I talked about doing valleys from the top down versus bottom up. But this is sort of me building a valley from the top down, or from the, well, no, it's not. I haven't started digging yet. I was thinking of digging to make a river valley through this area here. Now, this already is a very slight valley. I think you can see that. You can't really see that because the tracks come down and then they're going to come back up. All right. CN. Oh. Hey, Pat. So yeah, I would like to build a proper little river valley here. But it would mean building a valley from the top down, which, as I just mentioned, is not ideal. But it's not necessarily uncharacteristic of a landscape like this, although this area is just flat as hell. Which, I could just have something that winds through it, just a little river that winds through it. Because the closest river is over here, and honestly, this is, I mean, it's a good few miles. Actually, let me do this. So this is going down. Oh, and then it goes back up. Okay, so the lowest point is like here-ish. Which means I'm just going to put a little blue mark here. That's more than a little blue mark. Holy crap. Small radius. A little water wheel in a small wooded area. Maybe. Water wheel's tough because it sort of demands a steeper drop than this. But that might be nice to do sort of in this little gap between mountains. And this is a place where I might be able to build a top-down valley. But the thing is, Pan Am's over here, and it would sort of make more sense if Pan Am was over here. The other thing is, Pan Am is supposed to be a high point. So if we move Pan Am down to about here on the riverside, if we're talking about adding a river here, although look at the spacing of that. It's very, very clean. I just had an idea. Oh no, because rivers won't flow uphill, that's for sure. Because this is our low point, and then it goes up from here. And then it goes down. Oh, wait a minute. And then it goes up again. So, yeah, the thing is, if we have a river, it's got to go down. Which, you know what we can do? If we're doing another little water feature. I don't want the river to go all the way down to the ocean here now. But I do want it to go towards the ocean. So, I think water retention dam for irrigation. Yeah. I need to look at something. I need to look at maps of this kind of town. So just hold on tight 1 minute while I do a little look-see in like southern Indiana. I'm gonna see if I can find. Oh well, the southern Indiana's got some ridges. I want something flatter. How about Spice Land? Yeah, here's a river. Stone Quarry Mills. This is a place in Indiana. It's actually right by where the, oh wait, no, sorry, that's too far east. Or too far west, rather. So, I'm looking at this and saying, in an even smaller town, let's look at like Greensboro. It's just a place for farmers to get food, which is kind of what Pan Am is going to be. And how close is this to, let's see, measure distance to Spice Land. Yeah, 3 miles. Meanwhile, it's like 6 miles from Newcastle, which is a pretty good sized town. So, if I want to like model this off of Greensboro, which is like I said, a tiny little baby town. My town also is a weird. Okay, I'm gonna copy paste that. There's a bridge over the Rail Garden River. I haven't thought about the let's go to this place in Ohio. That's way too big. But yeah, so when I'm talking about a river in this case, I'm talking about like a tiny little baby stream. And I think I want it to flow out of this little notch in the hillsides right here, and I want it to wind down this way. Although it would probably go away from the away from here first, and then it would really start meandering because it's on flat ground. And I want to have it go this way. I want it to go all the way over here. In fact, I want to follow it with the railroad. This tiny little stream. Ducks in there. Let's see. Let's keep going. I mean, there's really not much you can do. I don't want to have a like an unrealistic river here, but there's only so much you can do with regard to its wiggling and wobbling. But I do probably want to keep it on one side of the railroad. So like over here, maybe? And then I want it to meet up with another river that's coming down this way. We're talking, again, little tiny baby streams here. So, we've now built the longest, one of the longest contiguous water features in the map, and now I'm going to have to terrain that, so that's fun. I've just made tons more work for myself. But the thing is, if we use, let's do it again, 4M standard bump, and if I think if I hold control, I will oh, and I'm going about this wrong already. All right, undo all that, because what I want to do is I want this to have an incredibly gentle negative slope. And if we ever get to the point where we are above the ground, we will have to go for a steeper slope. So let's go for 0.02 right off the bat. Lake at the lowest point. Well, it's going to head off map towards the ocean. Okay, so we're already above ground still. You missed me figuring out that I'm going to put a river here and cursing myself for it. I want some freaking sushi. Does anybody else want sushi? Alright, we're starting to get underneath the ground here. The other thing is, though, we need to start under the ground. We need to start under the ground a little bit. I'm talking like, let's go like, yeah, 6 feet in a ditch. That'll work. And then we need to apply a gradient value. We're going to keep 0.03. I discovered that I liked sushi recently, and man, do I crave it a lot now. King salmon. I like spicy crab sushi. That's my go-to. Yeah, I too love how I make constant changes to the map. It means that I'm never getting this epic thing done. Yeah, we're gonna keep this on like a steady downgrade, unless for whatever reason we run into an issue where we're like cresting the surface, or we're getting too far down. And we are gonna have to figure out where too far down is and when we hit it. Which I'm getting the feeling that we're already there. Actually, it's only 2 and change meters down. I think I have had some spicy salmon. Yeah, look how far down that isn't. But we're going to keep this. It seems to be working. I don't have a good reason to go get sushi. I usually get sushi because Gloria wants sushi. Gloria is not home today, as established by the fact that they chimed in earlier. So, you know, we are above ground, if anybody caught that one. So that means we're going to have to increase the rate of descent. Increase it back here. Okay, we need to back up this decrease to somewhere. Let's try it right here, and let's go even steeper. Let's go 0.06. I want to make sure I'm clicking on it, because there's no way for me to tell. I guess I could... Hold on. I got this mini-map. Yeah, there we go. Can I move it? There we go. There we go. We are not quite under the ground. You know what? Maybe we just have a... Okay. You know what this calls for? It calls for a little waterfall. And then we'll go back to 0.03. Carry on our merry way. Oh, never mind. 0.03 is still too... It's not good enough. Keep going with 0.06. Okay, enjoy that. It's a good episode. You're going to see someone at the beginning and you think, oh, that person's going to win. And let me know if you were right or not. It is going to be the saddest, smallest little waterfall on the planet. I'm sorry, but you're not going to be impressed by the end of this. Thank you, comrade. The thing that I really need luck with... Alright, I'm announcing it. I'm not announcing it per se, but I am thinking of doing some sort of exhibition match with some people that are not super familiar with Locomotive Royale, but are super familiar with locomotives. So, if that comes to fruition, you guys will know about it. It's probably not going to happen till like June. Yeah, it really will be just like Rapids with a small drop. It's not going to be impressive at all. Oh crap! Now I lost where I was. .5%, huh? What is this? Oh, this is 0.8%. That's right. So we've got to step it up. We're gonna go down at 0.8%. Okay. Now how far down are we? We're like 3.5 meters down. So we're making a good sized little ditch over here. And I may even decide to use a river spline for this. Oh man, I don't think I have a beaver dam asset, but that is a good idea. I'm not sure that exists. But either way, I think beaver dams belong in more wooded areas than this. And there isn't really space for like, oops, cannot create a zero length spline, huh? For like a, even like a water wheel. It may be worth putting in a little dam in Pan Am. That would be nice. It would be the Pan Am Dam. Now we are 8 meters down. Okay, so let me change our gradient value to like 0.05. And this is going to help us out probably. It also means that there will be some wooded areas between the tracks and the river. Ah, sugar. Damn Pan Am, yeah. Who put the bomb in the bomb shabomp shabomp? Sussy McBaka. Maybe I would be. It just doesn't seem like a natural beaver habitat to me. But you know what? Maybe you're totally right. I mean, this isn't here to be a flood control ditch, but ow, for crying out loud. How far down are we now? Wow, we got even lower. You know what? I think this is the only 4M standard bump. Can I swap it with it? No, I can't. I can't swap this with a, I can't swap track. I can't swap this with a river spline. Which is what I should have been doing from the beginning. That was kind of dumb, honestly. Let's see. River. No, that's not. Okay, time to find a river spline. Manage content. On download station. River. He did a lot of work. He put up, like, all of the... If you're asking about Frank and Frank, he put up all of the windowsills, basically. Oh, and I need type, don't I? Or rather... What is it called? Category. Spline. No, I don't want well, I mean, I'll get this anyway. Grab these four. Oh, you can't even see what I'm looking at, huh? Dirt bank evacuation. There's so much Uinta stuff. Oh my god, I gotta scroll all the way past it. Okay. Oh, you can get Icy Rivers. Seasonal. River 25 meter ISO 1. Alright, hold on. We're gonna try a river with this. Oh, those are some really old river assets. Okay. Yes, Uinta is good. There will be at least one, probably two Uinta cards coming with the next pack. Or coming with the next batch, rather. Oh, this is where it gets really annoying. Yeah. Don't look directly into the Z fighting. I am placing it offset slightly. On purpose. So that I can grab both of them when I need to. Still downloading rivers, apparently. And the Uinta is fun. It's kind of a shame that a lot of their locomotives don't get more recognition. People know it for the 50 class, or the class 50, and the class 20, which are those 6.2s. But nobody really cares about the Uinta consolidations or the Uinta Shays, except for maybe Shay 7. Shay 7 gets love. Well, Shay 7 deserves love. Um, so yeah, it is kind of a shame that they don't get the recognition they deserve sometimes. Either way, I mean, very, very cool railroad. Crazy, absolutely insane bunch of people. Oh, wait a minute. Do I get the same? I do not get the same tools. Tell me I can grab a spline height off that. Oh, thank the Lord. Oh, no. No, I can't. Oh, this is going to be bad. It's going to be real bad. Alright, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I should be doing this a different way then. Because I'm not going to go through it. Well, I've already gotten this far with it. I'll just have to shift the spline points over when I get there. Okay, well. Not really what I wanted to do, but oh well, here we are. Building a small river like this, I guess it's fine to build from the top down. This computer might become Morro Castle. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be more like, I don't know, like Vesuvius? Like City Geiger Mountains moment. I was thinking about that the other day. I know we never came up with the official name for it until this came out. Speaking of official names, I never thought once in a million years I would be able to say, I would get to say new DMAG as something other than a reference to this route. I did not know DMAG was a thing. I did not know that what they like make equipment, like heavy equipment, until Chris was like, DMAGs are good, and I was like, yeah, but new DMAGs are better. And I don't think he ever got it. I don't think he had the chance to get it. But one of these days, yeah, my computer will fight me, hit me, or like just leave. Okay, yeah. Um, 385 cards coming soon. TM. As for the locomotive, I don't know. That's not up to me. We'll probably talk about that on the terminus in a week, though. I wish it was up to me. I mean, I don't wish that I worked at Union Pacific, but I mean, that is kind of a big bonus of the job if you get to work at the steam shop there. Sucks to be them canceling their 4014 trip ahead of the STB hearings, which I hope people have been watching because they are hilarious. Okay. So, here's our river. And what we're going to have to do is this. Which is absolutely not what I wanted to do. But you know what? It's the way it's going to work. Come on. Need to click on the track. I missed a spot. This is some kind of ditch. Yeah, 40... I mean, the thing with steam engines is they aren't that loud unless you're really pushing them. Like, they can be if you mess with them to make them really loud, but they generally are not that loud. A steam engine can sneak up on you way more easily than a diesel can. I mean, if you've ever seen videos of, like, steam-powered cars, They are very, very quiet compared to their, you know, internal combustion counterparts. If you haven't seen videos of steam cars, Jay Leno's Garage has some great ones. And if you haven't watched any of Jay Leno's Garage videos and you like cars at all, what have you been doing, man? Um, you're gonna have to put a big asterisk on that CSX because they can be cleaner if you've got a good fireman and you're not working them too hard. But if they can also be a lot dirtier, I will say there's a much wider spread on how dirty a steam engine can be or how clean a steam engine can be than a diesel of equivalent horsepower. I would reckon anyway. I'm not a genius on these subjects. I'm not an expert on these subjects, but just based on my understanding of locomotives, there's a possibility there, but not a guarantee. So, yeah, and if you've got a locomotive like A44 and it's working really hard, going 75 miles an hour, that is grounds for it to be an awful lot louder. However, I really should have tried to keep this at like 2 underneath. Because look how good this looks compared to when we get further down, it's going to look pretty atrocious. So we're going through and we're going to do this. We can straighten this out with the tools for this, so it's not a bad thing. Like we can fix the terrain with the tools for just the splines, I think. I think splines have that, yeah, they do. The smooth spline tool. See you, Dragon. Good to see you. But you know what? This is a nice break of the monotony, I suppose. This still counts as terrain. We need to figure out where it goes down. Is that right here? Yeah. That is right here. I'm going to make a mark here. Okay. So there hasn't been a ton of like questions and stuff. There's nothing really for me to dig into tonight, I feel like. My throat is kind of messed up. Last week I had the virtue of not having done Loco Royale the night before, and man, have I been messed up today because of that. This week has been a lot of recordings. I've been doing stuff. I did something with Heist and the gang earlier. Of course, we did Loco Royale last night, as we do. And then I'm doing this now, and I'm doing the community playdate tomorrow. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday really does take a toll on my voice. I don't know when, if ever, it's going to recover. I am going to be away though. You're going to miss an episode of Under Construction. I apologize for that, but I hope you can forgive me. It's just next weekend. Oh, the podcast might be a little late too. Next weekend, there will be. I will be away. So do with that information what you will. But yeah, there will not be an episode of Under Construction probably. Maybe I'll get real ballsy and find some free time and make an episode, like I'll pre-record an episode. But I wouldn't put money on that because that is a lot of time. That is a time commitment that I may not be able to spare because there are so many things that I need to get to on a weekly basis, up to and including the special order trading cards that I'm trying to put out. So I did actually get to the point where I should be able to take care of one relatively soon. Oh, did I get a... No. Yeah. I'm waiting for a response from the CRRM guys about the about something for the RGS 20 card, and I am going to be reaching out to them probably a couple more times to figure out, to sort of gauge whatever they have to say on this card and make sure everything's accurate and correct and up to date with any changes that might have been made to the locomotive in preservation. Because right now I only have the stats from basically its builder's card, I'm pretty sure. The thing with the trading cards that I've learned, or one of the things, is that you do need to specify basically what set of numbers you're going for here, or in a given card. Because you will get different numbers between the as-built, the in-service, and like the final, like before it's retired condition for a lot of locomotives. Okay, so up here, I don't think I need to change anything. It's only when we get down to probably past the little drop here that I'm going to need to do this. It's just going to be 1 week. I'm just not going to be here next Thursday. I'll be in Philadelphia. So, I will have missed Drachenfell by that much on the Olympia. But I'll be going there to take my dad there. There we go. The other thing I might want to do is... Yeah, so with this, when I want to tighten the river up a little bit, I can just grab a smaller radius here and just push in the edge a little bit. If I want to loosen it up, I just do this and I drag up the river. So tighten it. I can go down the river, but I can most easily come in from the side. And then loosen it. I go up the river. Because I'm imposing a higher land condition on it. Oh. Well, this seems to be not good. There we go. But I do want to tighten it up for most of its run, because most of this river I would not think is going to be very wide at all, and in fact, I'm probably already overstating the width of something like this. It's just supposed to be a little baby stream, and the only reason we're using a spline for it is because it has this continuous descent. If I wanted to make it a real hot day, I could bring the land up to the point where it's just a series of lakes, like vaguely connected lakes. Okay, Sherry. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that, but that is an option. It's also, of course, not going to be very deep. The other thing is, though, once we get down here past the mark, which is still a ways to go, I will probably just cover this over and dig it again anew. Because that will let me have more gradual side slopes to this. Yeah, no, I mean, humidity shouldn't really change how the river looks, but if it is a hot day, then, obviously the things can be a little bit dried up. And the other thing is I want to make sure that the width is not uniform through this whole thing, and that it There we go. And that it looks a little bit more like a river as opposed to a road that I've sort of just imposed in a ditch. A road that I've placed in a hole in the ground. Oop. Oops. Yeah, and this is sitting right on the ground here. Right on the riverbed that I've created. So okay. The other thing is, because it's on the edge here. Yeah, okay. That's the other thing I didn't do. I didn't slide the spline points back to the middle. Depends how high speed your high speed rail is. Would it be possible? Possibly. But the thing with 2-day shipping from like Amazon is most of the things that are available for 2-day shipping aren't necessarily because they're getting, brought in from someplace way across the country. It's because they have things already staged in local warehouses. I would wager that a lot of 2-day shipping, like, it makes me think Amazon, so I'm going to use it as an example. There will be instances where, yeah, no, you do need a plane to get something across the country in 2 days. Because the thing with high-speed rail is, even if you have really high-speed rail, we're not talking about demand. We're just talking about speed. In a vacuum, demand not considered. You wouldn't really be able to make that happen because the thing with planes is planes are very good at low volume, high speed things, and trains are not very good with low volume anything. That's sort of the problem, and it's why we don't have, it's why less than carload service went the way of the dyno. It's difficult for railroads to do that because in order for you to have 2-day shipping, you need to have established infrastructure to your destination and from your start point, which we can assume is a warehouse. But to your destination, you then still need to load things on a truck. And that means you need to have time for at least one transload. And any time that a car spends in a yard is lost time. So while high-speed rail is great for doing things like moving passengers, because they can figure out the last mile themselves, or even moving, bulk commodities, which, yeah, I guess you don't really need high-speed rail for that, but it would be useful for it. Or moving, things that there are a lot of, but that you need to get there, you need to deliver in a relatively small amount of time, like an intermodal train, intermodal containers. Yeah, that high-speed rail helps with. But the thing that needs to be kept in mind is most 2-day shipping, if you're not talking about like post office 2-day shipping, most 2-day shipping is because there is an item in a warehouse that is near you, and all that needs to happen is it gets dispatched on a truck from the warehouse and delivered straight to your door. Nothing, no intermediaries, It's not necessarily going to a distribution facility and then from there going to your house. It's just going straight to your house. So I don't think, well, yes, you could have instances where high-speed rail would be sufficient for 2-day shipping. I think that the very the very processes that make 2-day shipping possible don't jive with having a railroad, unless you've got a railroad to your front door. Maybe 2-day shipping to a given point that isn't your house, but not to your front door. You would still need some planes for that. I think there was something else. There was another aspect of this that I wanted to touch on, which was that any any time in a yard is lost time, of course. Um, so you need something that goes directly from point A to point B, if at all possible. And then transloading onto other modes of transportation, you then need that to happen, I suppose. Other naval base or rail yard in my front yard. Okay. Check your Discord chat. Not right now. Please don't DM me during the show, if you know I'm doing the show. You can DM me while I'm not doing the show, but at other times, or when I am, and you know I am, which you know I am because you're here, please stop doing that. So, anyway, I'm going to decrease the radius on this while we're up here. And this is, so this is more of what we need to get at. Oh, but now it's too tall. So bring it in on the sides. Why is this looking like there's a hill? Oops, up here. Oh, I have no way of telling because it's not that anymore. Well, I guess I'll just have to lower this manually. Oh, too much. And radius is way too large. Okay. So we are going to have to do some pruning of this from the edges to make it more workable. Like that. To make it more realistic. So, yeah, back on the topic. The issues are primarily that last mile conundrum, which no matter what, you've got to load it on a truck to get it to your door, and if you're doing that, that costs you time. And any more time that's spent by the thing on the train versus on the plane is time that you're losing to do the transload and delivery. So that's why this stuff is so important. That's why the planes are an essential part of the... Why is this going up? In this area, the river is actually lower than a lot of other areas, so... Wait a minute. Seriously? This goes up over here? No. Yeah. I don't know what the hell's going on. I thought that my system was foolproof. I must have misclicked something. Yeah. How much river can go up a hill just from the push of the backed up water? Generally not at all, because what you've created there, Matt, is a lake, is what that's called. You've created a lake. When water backs up, it makes a lake. But I get what you're saying. You can coax water streams to go up if you give them enough momentum, but you're not going to find that in nature. You're going to find that at like an amusement park on a water slide. So, yeah, unfortunately, you're not really going to get what you're talking about. Oh, the sensitivity's too low, that's why. Push it in here, make this a nice Nice narrow little river. Yeah, I mean, that is something other than the weight of the water doing the pushing. If you get a pump, it's very much not natural. But, you know, if you can find me a natural pump. Would you consider pumping more natural than using Viagra? Anyway, this is getting into a part where, yeah, exactly. This is what I want. I want a little creek, and little creeks are really nice, and they're really realistic, and they're really a pain in the butt. So, why is this higher? There we go. Elephant. Elephant. Natural pump. Okay, you know what? I would have also taken heart as an answer. So, you can get blood all the way to your head. Either one of them. Using the pump that you've got inside your body. Using the backed up pressure of the water in your bloodstream, which is most of your blood. Okay. This is coming along well, but we haven't even made it to the drop. I can't even see the drop. It's way in the distance. That's when things get a little bit more annoying. But I mean, I like the way it looks so far. It's just going to take me the rest of the night here to make this little stream. But I feel like this feature was necessary to break up the complete abject monotony. But then again, maybe that's maybe that's not realistic. Oh, come on. I still want to make sure this is always going down, so that means bringing up lower elevations. Okay. And now we continue working on the riverbank. I'd like to go from the inside here because the outside's already sort of worn enough. There we go. Water into a vacuum? I mean, yeah, but find me a naturally occurring vacuum that isn't space. And if you attached a straw from Lake Pontchartrain to outer space, the water's going to stay on the bottom. Yeah, that's true. Water can go up if the source is above it and it's contained within a pipe. So basically, how far can water go up? Well, the same amount that you're pushing it. Your lungs, well, your lungs don't move water around. They do move air, which is a fluid. Well, and I would argue that it's your diaphragm moving it, but yeah, I get your gist. Get the gist of what you're saying, picking up what you're putting down. Point is, lots of organs move fluids around. Okay, here's, nope, not here. It's down there. But not necessarily, you know, it's basically what Matt is describing is pressure. And yeah, I mean, yeah, pressure exists, and is useful for many things. But you don't really find many examples of pressure buildup in nature, except for maybe like pressurized oil wells, you know? Or, trying to think of situations where water might end up under pressure. Usually anything is probably due to geologic activity. Building up pressure is hard. We humans have managed to figure out good ways to build up pressure using mechanical means, but not. Uh, but there are not many of those sorts of things found in nature. Like nature has never evolved a wheel, you know, but a wheel is essential and important to our modern day technology. Uh, just because something exists that we can come up with it doesn't mean something like that would have ever evolved naturally or come about naturally. You know, there's no naturally formed plastics, for instance. Magma is a liquid-ish. It's an incredibly dense liquid, I would argue, but it does act more like rock. But it's liquid in the same way that, like, you know, molten anything is a liquid. Magma being under pressure, being underground, yeah, that does sort of beggar the question of, like, yeah, okay, is it a liquid when it's underground? It definitely acts as a liquid when it's on the surface. I would say that, yeah, it is. I would argue that it is. But that's what I'm talking about. You need these sort of all-consuming geologic processes in order to make enough pressure to send anything anywhere. Um, and so yeah, you're making pressure. You're sending stuff to the surface. Uh, you're sending magma up to the surface, and that I guess fulfills what Matt was talking about. I keep looking at it, and I really am cracked up by just elephant. It's like, yes, you're right. That's a good point. Something I had not considered. Um, you know what's a shame? That a lot of the people who I feel like are the best at Locomotive Royale don't necessarily have the most astounding winning records because they they like to meme a lot. Like Hemlock is incredibly they do an incredibly good job of like thinking through and figuring out what stat calls are going to benefit them. But they bring 2 foot 2 royales that uh, you know, royales that are full of standard gauge engines. You know, they bring things because they want to represent a given locomotive instead of bring things because they want to win. Uh, in some cases, has not stopped them, but and certainly hasn't stopped them from getting close. But there are people that bring things that they want to meme with, that they know aren't going to be good, and then there are also the people that bring things that are probably just fine, but would rather meme in the Royale than actually try to win. Matt, uh, you know, I think if we took the people that were all really good and said, "Hey, listen, actually, you know, bring something that you seriously think is a contender, bring something where you seriously want to win, and play like you really want to win," we would see gameplay like we've never seen before. The thing with the Royales and the reconstruction of the style point system, because I was talking about this with Tyler, is that it allows for a lot more strategy and stuff and such. But people have yet to figure out how to take advantage of that. And what in the world I feel like is it's the opportunity for everyone to take a look and see, like, okay, um this is what the system is like, and next season I expect to be a more serious season. And I wouldn't mind seeing a return of some of the locomotives that we have had on before, because with the new system things could be very different. Um, I think the thing that the new style point system does particularly well is sort of it's the fact that, like the rounds that come before it now, there is a hard cap on how many points you can get. Everyone that survived gets a chance to make a difference and score their points, but at the same time, it isn't a total runaway for the people that have the most. Yeah, the intermediate solution that we did earlier worked, but still let people get it simultaneously let people get too far ahead with the style points, and also it simultaneously allowed like not enough points to be called for people. Now it doesn't matter how many you've gathered, you still get to pull out 5 that are good for your locomotive specifically. And I think it's a really simple solution that just never struck me before, which is let everyone get some time to themselves to talk about what makes their engine uniquely good. And if you don't have anything that makes you uniquely good, then you're ending up helping the people that have more unique and uniquely good engines, as opposed to them just being able to run away with a ton of unique style points on their own. So, I am really looking forward to seeing how this ends up shaping up going forward in future seasons, because I'm pretty content with the way the game's working right now, and I don't think that there's anything that needs to be changed with the basic Royale format. Uh, there are a few things that I would like to add, however. There are 2 game modes that I would like to add. Uh, one of which I can't not call Loco Dome or Loco Duels, but Loco Dome is probably what I'm going to go with because I can't not use that name. I also can't not think about blowjobs, but that's a different problem entirely. Um, it would be nice for an abandoned bit of right-of-way. This reminds me of areas that I went through in northwestern Colorado, where there was some abandoned right-of-way. But I don't know how I would fit that here. You know, we're going to have another opportunity to make a river like this, and I think when we do, then we will include some abandoned right-of-way from the original routing of the Jefferson and Gilson. Here, I can't imagine that this routing changed very much over the course of the you know preceding years to when the Tolbrin Peninsula map is set. But we will definitely have the opportunity to do that in the future. Which, let me real quick, I'm gonna grab this aqua texture color right here, paint aqua green, and we will go all the way to over here. Oh yeah, and we already marked off the rivers over here, so excuse me. Yeah, we'll just have to make a note of this. I'll just draw it with this, and hopefully I'll remember what I mean. This way, and then there we go. How's that? We will figure that one out when we get there. I'm really enjoying making this river, though. And it's actually, I do feel like it's coming out pretty good. And we are most of the way to the end. Which we do have a second river to build, of course, but we'll cross the bridge when we come to it. So there are 2 game modes I'd like to add, which are, like I said, Loco Dome or Loco Duels, and the other one, which is the 2v2 game type, which is called double headers. And that I need to work out the rules for, and I would like to get some playtesting done in, maybe in between Royale seasons, but not anytime soon necessarily. it really depends on how much time I end up dedicating to make that come to reality. There are other things I would like to add to the game, which would be helper cards, which would be diesels and electrics. I need to figure out what all stats that are on the Loco base that can also be applied to diesels and electrics. But you know, that sort of thing has to come along. Certainly, like things like builder and number in class and number built, that sort of thing. Those obviously can be included. Tractive effort. The style points probably wouldn't matter, although, yeah, maybe you could bring them up. You could supplement an engine's sad little style points, or like a sad little engine style points, with some better ones from your helper card, if you manage to have it. You know, that, useful style points, whatever. Um, haven't worked out what these cards might look like. I would think that an electric helper card would be like a kind of orange, and a diesel helper card might be. What haven't I used yet? What colors haven't I used yet? I haven't used like a purple, but purple is not a very present color when it comes to railroading. What is a... We've already used light blue. We haven't used red. So red and orange. So red for your obligatory Santa Fe war bonnet, and orange for your, I don't know, Zappy Boys. Orange for your MBTA Ashmont Matapan. But I don't know how trolleys would fit into that. It would be kind of the same deal, I think. But either way, it would have to be stuff that diesels and electrics share with steam locomotives. Yeah, daylights, but I feel like that scheme is more iconic, or at least just as iconic on Steam. So, uh, the colors that I picked so far generally had some sort of Steam connotation. I mean, the black is black, but the green is like a Pullman or a Reading green. I was going to go with... You could say that the first color is Brunswick green instead of black. It won't make a difference. Nobody will know. The the silver was supposed to be a sort of Russian iron color, because contrary to popular belief, it was not in fact blue. And the other piece of it is... Hold on. I apologize for getting my train of thought lost. But, yeah, the other piece of it is, of course, it's got to be iconic to that sort of thing, and it's got to be unique. So, a red card as a helper card, honestly, just doing red in general, would probably be the way to go. Because it's so, stand out compared to what we've got so far. And that would do it for me. That, I think, would be good enough. And yeah, I just need to figure out what stats would go on those cards. And then we need to find data for all those. Now, they won't have a Loco base ID. The other thing that I need to figure out, for the sake of the game in the future, is how do I do geared engines? We are definitely going to have geared engine cards coming down the pipe at some point. So how do I do geared engines? Can I make geared engines work? And can I work out something with Stephen West for the Loco base where we can get geared engines on the site? Because everything I put up, aside from the helper cards, obviously, everything I put up, I would like to have on the Loco base. Which means that for some stuff in the immediate future, we're actually going to need to have some engines get added. So, yeah, there's that. Dark gray and tan. Tan is not a bad one. But tan is a little bit close to the gold that I use, just the way it prints. It looks a little tannish. So, probably not great. And dark gray, we already have one gray slash silver and a black, so I was thinking of something monochromatic, but I dismissed it because it's just not tan for wood and gray for the common color. Yeah, I haven't thought about how rarities might work with the helper cards. I would figure they would all sort of be the same. It would be, we'll produce a run of helper cards, and there's a chance that in a given pack you get a helper card. In addition to the steam engines you would be getting. So, you know, the thing, oh, that's the other thing. We would need to figure out a color for the special order helper cards, and I would probably go with orange for that. So, you know, there you go. There you go. Figured it out. And yeah, you would bring these with you into an existing fight, and they would be able to supplement your stats, which I thought was an interesting concept. Meanwhile, Loco Dome or Loco Duels, like I said, it's gonna have 5 different locomotives per person, and you just swap to the next one. When it becomes your turn, you can. I suppose I should say you can swap to the next one when it becomes your turn, or when you run out of stats to call, and it's the first person to 100 points wins. But yeah, that that is a game concept for longer form stuff, and it would be a 1v1 sort of thing, and it would probably be, you know, a locomotive versus can take like 20 minutes if you're quick about it. A Loco Duels or a Loco Royale or a Loco Dome may take, you know, probably upwards of an hour, just one-on-one. And that's a long time, but it would be neat because it wouldn't really be a game of locomotive against locomotive. More so than any other game type we've come up with, it would be a game of player versus player, where, you know, you have your deck, you know, of your 5 cards that you've chosen to be your representatives, to be your cards, and that is going to that's going to be what defines it, because you can have any 5 cards. It opens the possibilities up, plus helpers, plus a helper, I would say, at least one helper. I don't know how I would include helpers in that game type without making them hideously overpowered, though. Oh, one of the ways is you cannot call a stat from a helper card. You can't say, oh, I'm going to call number in class and then use the number off of your helper card. You have to use the number off of your own card if you're the one calling it, off of your steam locomotive card. If you are getting called against, then you can use your helper as a sort of, well, helper, as a defender. This is the stuff that I should be writing down, but I'm glad that I'm hashing this out because this is going to be defining stuff in the game in the future. The typical Bachman. Yeah, that's going to be in the April Fool's pack. The April Fool's batch. And we don't even get a picture of like the real thing, we get a picture of the model. Or, yeah, the physical model of the thing. Because, I mean, the Bachman 060, I don't know what the prototype for that is, but I'm sure it's out there, right? I'm sure there is a real-ish locomotive that it's based off of. So you could find, oh, this is the inspiration for the Bachman 060, and we're gonna make a card out of it. No, we're making a card out of the toy, literally the toy. We'll make up like axle loading. Well, it'll be in grams, you know. It'll be like, what is your total engine and tender weight? Oh, like, I don't know, however many, you know. Well, we do imperial units, so what is your total engine and tender weight? Oh, 6 ounces. That would be kind of funny. That'd be a great thing to pull. That's just a joke. But that would be difficult to do. The cost to make that happen would be kind of prohibitive. Because that's the other thing I've got to do. All the stuff I want to make, all the stuff I want to do. You know, if I were to add helpers before the next batch comes out, I wonder if that would justify the $6 cost more, or if I would have to increase the cost because of helpers. I mean, let's see. If I don't, I can't check right now. That would be digging into the numbers a little bit too much, I feel. Actually, no, I can look at my profit and I can see, well, profit. I can look at, okay, I'm not going to lie. There is profit. It's not a lot of profit, but it exists. If I look at the abstract here, oops, that's the wrong tab. I can see, like, okay, so this is what it costs to make a run of, say, 20 cards. I have the model if you need a picture. Yeah, that'd be kind of funny. Oh, and this one was contributed by. I'm just thinking about this. It would only be another $18, which, with some massaging, should work, and not do too much to the balance of making the thing. So, yeah, I mean, these cost 5 to make. I mean, if we cut out the I don't want to be playing with the numbers right now. I've got a river to build, but uh, if we were to just focus on things that aren't shipping, because the shipping pays for itself ish. I don't know about adding another card to that, if that will do anything good or bad, you know, if that'll do anything bad to the shipping. But if I made like a 20% chance that you get a helper card in a given batch, or in a given pack, it would mean that I would have to create 20 helper cards, and I would only probably make one helper card per batch, so it would be like an F7, for example. Um, Smoke generator. Uh, and then there would be a chance of pulling an F7 in your normal pack. Now, the next batch that's coming out is probably going to be Rares Online, and there isn't really a lot of room for me to do that. But it does feel amiss to me to charge this much more for these packs. However, I'm hoping that it's offset by the publicity that will come from doing this. And I'm now wondering how I'm going to pitch this thing. Because, yeah, we do need to get the RO dev team on board, or at least QMA, who would sign off on us using the name for our advertising and talking about it in the Discord server. But soon to overtake Pokemon. Yeah, I wish. How much does Pokemon make? Like gazillions of dollars? Yeah, we're not getting there anytime soon. So, oh, look at all this. Look at this is all okay. So this part is the only part that's not filling in right now, and it should be much higher. Yeah, there we go. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Now we just need to narrow it up a little bit. See what you can do with just the plateau tool? This is probably the most versatile tool in the game. Really. I mean it. The plateau tool is a godsend. So yeah. Need to get them on board with it. Need to get the powers that be interested, and then we have access to a much larger market. Because I mean, the issue with the first batch, I don't think was people for gold panning. Yeah, I don't think the issue was with people not wanting to buy the things, because there's definitely a market for them. We definitely showed that. Um, but it's just reaching that market is difficult. I don't think there are too many foamers that just peruse Kickstarter. And the other thing is, I missed out on one big piece of advertising, which is to advertise them as gifts. I didn't even think about it until people were coming to me saying, hey, I want to buy a bunch for like all the foamers in my family, and I can only buy 2 because the other options are, you know, unavailable. It's like, oh crap, yeah. Um, and so then we had to do some shenaniganry to make that person happy. But in the end, I ended up selling him several packs. So it was pretty good. And I also didn't have to ship them because he was local. So I just dropped them off. So that saved me a little bit because, as I've mentioned, I very much screwed up the shipping cost on the last batch. And it's only the discount that I used for the printing that saved me from paying for most of it out of my own pocket. So, you know, it worked out in the end. But not in the way that I would have liked. So, and despite stifling his laughter at mention of the thing, Heist did seem like, hey, that's pretty cool. He seemed pretty cool about it. But he seems like a guy who is very much for stuff. Like, he's a positive dude. I think he's originally from Colorado, I would expect. Because he just seems like people out there are so damn nice. When we had the inconveniences and issues on the Minecraft server, and I was telling Weibold's Coloradan friends, like, hey, this is what's going on. You know, we're gonna have to roll back. You might lose some progress. They were just like, oh, that's fine. That's fine. It's okay. And I was like, oh, I'm glad you're okay with this, because like some of the people are at my effing throat about the fact that Spawn Town got blown up and we've got to roll the server back. Um, so, you know, it's that sort of thing. They're very nice. And I appreciate that every day of my life. The people that are in it that are nice to me. Unlike people named Ogillies, who are not nice to me. Just kidding. We're going to widen this all the way up here, and then we're going to bring in the banks again. Because yes, it is a very gradual descent, but it is still there. Thing is, once you push this in a little bit, it's like the point of no return. Okay. Oh, and I did it again. Because it's tough to get that back once you screw it up. There we go. Okay. There we go. Well, I'm covering over the river because one side of it is sticking out. So this part I'm doing on purpose, and I will fix up in a second. So now we can just go straight down the middle of this. Although, that's right, because it isn't... All we really care about is showing the river, so I can just do this. Oops, turn that down, turn this up. Gold panning just makes me think of Buster Scruggs. Alright, so now that I've exposed the river, now I can come in with a half-scale and low sensitivity thing. What engines are eligible to be cards in the future? I'm not at liberty to say exactly what's coming down the pipeline yet, but like I said, the next batch is going to be all stuff from Railroads Online, so expect a lot of 3-foot narrow gauge. After that, we're going to focus on satisfying the Kickstarter rewards for the People's Choice stuff. and I haven't even checked to see what those engines are. They were selected by the people who bought the first batch of cards. I know there's at least one Japanese engine in there. I did see that. Um, and then the um, the batches after that are going to be if I can market them to museums. After that, I don't really have a plan. Um, we will see, because every batch is going to come with a People's Choice section. The Railroads Online batch is going to have a uh, People's Choice option, which is going to be, if you buy a card pack, you get to put in, for like a few extra bucks, you get to put in the entry of what you would like to see in a future pack, and it will come in a future batch. Uh, which I think that is also going to lead to some more varied stuff, which could encourage more trading. There's already a lot of trading that I want to do. I just haven't sat down and hashed it out with people. And, my deals have been pretty steep because I've only got 5 cards to play with. So I'm trying to make the best out of what I got. I've been trying to take, like, cards off of people that they don't think are valuable so I can sort of flip them, if I've got something that somebody needs and they've got something that they don't want, I'd be more than happy to exchange, as long as it is sort of a rank up for me in terms of either number of cards that I have to play with or the rank of those cards. Um, so, limited run European engines in a big boy. Big boy becomes a card. Well, we're getting a challenger. So, the big boy was on the table for the first batch. We ended up not going with it because we already had Union Pacific representation in 844, and 844 fit really well within the cards that were coming in that there batch. But that's the kind of thing where if if somebody requests it, it's definitely coming. And if somebody gets it as a special order, it's also definitely coming. Now, the thing is, the stuff that people paid for, the card suggestions that people paid for in the batches, I'm not going to overrule them. But there's always a chance that somebody requests something as a special order, and it's also requested as a People's Choice card. Or, as a People's Choice card. Now, if that happens, I will just have to meter that appropriately. But if the selection is coming through, say, a poll in the Discord, which is how we're going to probably select any empty spaces, yeah. Then I will say, hey, no, we can't have that card because somebody already requested it as a special order. I'm not going to make a second run of those cards because that person paid good money to have that exist. I like the way this river came out. I think it's a little bit sketchy towards the end, and we should have pushed it further from the railroad tracks. But I like the way this river came out. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up the stream here. I'll talk to you guys next... Oh, sorry. In 2 weeks, but of course tune in for What in the World number 4. If you want to get in a Royale, you need to join our Discord. That link's in the description. You need to get fan rank, which there's a description of how to do that. If you don't know how to do that, if you can't figure it out, you can ask somebody, because sometimes it's a little confusing. I get it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Under Construction, and I'll see you next week.